Hey there, everyone. This is Samuel Johnson, and welcome back to the Phantom Perspectives. And today we're going to be discussing episode 12 of Danny Phantom, Teacher of the Year. And as I said last week, this is the return of Technus. Pretty much what happens is that Danny and Tucker have gotten into playing an online multiplayer game called Doomed, which, yeah, is an obvious nod to Doom. And pretty much, no matter how much they play the game, there's one player that keeps getting the best of them. A player called Chaos that seems to just know every little thing about the game, and no matter how hard they try, always seems to get the best of them. Well, when they're during their most recent defeat to Chaos, Danny gets so angry that he throws his controller, which was a Fenton neural interface or whatever, at a wall, and he winds up activating the ghost portal, and Technus escapes first chance he gets. However, he sees Danny playing Doomed, and he sees Chaos, thinks he looks cool, and decides maybe that's what he wants to emulate. As such, he and Danny fight, but Technus manages to escape, but Danny decides that he'll just deal with him later, and then realizes that when he was playing the game, he pulled an all-nighter. So when he goes to school, he ends up falling asleep and not being able to really do anything. As such, he commits to the lessons. He doesn't do everything. As such, when he's supposed to be taking a test, he doesn't put any time in because he's sleeping when he's supposed to be either paying attention or doing the test. So the next day we learn he failed, but that night Danny, Sam, and Tucker go looking for Technus, with Danny and Tucker giving Sam kind of some ribbon, just kind of acting like Sam, with Danny and Tucker using terms from Doomed, what apparently they think Sam doesn't know, which does get on her nerves a little. But they do manage to track down Technus because, like last time, he's gathering a bunch of technology to create a new body, and so this time he designs it off of Chaos. As such, Danny and Tucker go in to fight him, and they tell Sam to stay back because she probably won't know what they're doing. But while they're able to fight, and while Danny and Tucker are able to fend Technus off enough, they're able to fend Technus off enough. They are able to fend Technus off enough so that while he may have the look down, he doesn't really have the skills necessary from playing the game. As such, he decides that while he may not have them now, he knows where he can get them. So he self-destructs his body. Danny considers it a win because he's technically defeated, but while Danny is just kind of leaning on what's left of his head, Sam and Tucker were using headsets, so Technus manages to sneak out and go into Danny's headset. As such, to try and celebrate, Danny and Tucker go to play more Doomed and try to use some of the tricks they use against Technus on Chaos, see if it'll work, but once again, Chaos wipes the floor with them. As such, Danny, realizing he pulled another all-nighter, decides to just worry about everything later, and puts his headset down, which allows Technus to escape, and using his powers, he's able to go right into Doom, gaining another new body in this case. It's actually really nice. It's really nice and sleek, and that's something I'll always get at Technus. While he may be hammy and all over and just over the top, he's just I love the design of his bodies. They're always dark but sleek and interesting. I like it. In this case, he's got a robotic body, but he's got three legs, but he's kind of got 3 legs, a jar with his brain in it on his head. It's really interesting. But while he's in Doomed, he runs into Tucker, and Tucker thinks that Technus is really just another player because Technus believes this will be the best way to blend in. As such, Tucker begins showing Technus the ropes and everything, showing him what to do in the game and what not to do, etc. And Technus winds up revealing, and as they're learning the skills, and as they're training, Technus asks, well, what's the point of doing all this? Why are we fighting all these enemies? And Tucker says that the overall objective of Doomed is to collect 7 silver keys and reach the end of the final level 13, which will give the player ultimate power and access to the World Wide Web, To which I respond with, shouldn't they already be having access to the World Wide Web? Because this is supposed to be an online multiplayer game. I mean, the only way you can have that is if it has access to the web. And I'm guessing you can probably use your web browser. I'm guessing Technus can probably just pop into another computer and search the web that way. But bottom line, I don't really get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But Technus sees that, oh, if I reach the end of this level, then I can spread my influence across the entire world. And at this point, he ends up shouting out his name while Tucker's right there. When Tucker realizes this is Technus, Technus blasts him, destroying his avatar. Which, yeah, he respawns later, but bottom line, they now know that Technus is in the game, and will make it worse, Technus still has all of his ghost power, so he can cheat the game in some ways that that the rest of the players cannot. In the meantime, though, because of Danny falling asleep in class that one day, he got an F on his test, and Lancer thinks that Danny Danny needs some help. He needs some time to study, and because he's spending most of his time playing his game. As such, Lancer brings Danny back to his house because he caught Danny while he was playing Doomed in like a cyber cafe. So he he lets his parents know about everything that he's been doing and so forth, and so his parents tell him that because Lancer says that while he failed the test, he's going to be taking a makeup exam to try and to try and see if he can fix his grade. But until then, Danny's no longer allowed access to technology. As such, Danny cannot help Tucker and Sam when he eventually he can't help Tucker while he's in the game, if he can't play the game, because Tucker does reveal that and Danny doesn't learn it till like the next day, but as such Tucker is calling Sam in a group call. As such, he wonders what to. As Sam asks, "Do you want some help?" He's like, "Well, what can you do?" And so Sam reveals that she's chaos. And the next day, she's just rubbing it in on Danny and Tucker's faces, which I suppose they kind of deserve. But again, it kind of feels weird that they would even be doing this, and that they would even be giving her crap in the first place for her being a girl and that sort of thing. I don't know. And again, you could probably say that, girl. You could probably say the stereotype with teenage boys is, girls can't be gamers and all that. But here's the thing: they've treated Sam as an equal in almost every other episode, and pretty much every other episode before this one. So why would they suddenly be doing it with this? So why wouldn't they be doing it with this? So why would they suddenly be acting like they're better at her than now in all episodes? I don't get that. I really don't. Again, you could say they're probably dumb teenage boys, but again, they were pretty considerate about it before. Even the last episode, Danny and Sam were working side by side to take down Ember. I thought that actually feels more like it. That's them treating her as an equal instead of just saying, "Oh, she's just a girl, whatever." So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But bottom line, again, they don't harp on it for too long because they realize that because Sam's the best player in the game. As such, she and Tucker can do their best to hold off Technus till Danny can go in and help them. However, Danny's just not getting the material. He's not interested. He can't fall asleep. He can't stay awake. It really is just not doing. It's not really doing well for him. As such, during one of the study periods, he gets up to stretch his legs and sees Lancer writing a letter to what is supposed to be his sister. And I'm just gonna spoil it right now. It's him in a dress. There's a picture of his sister on his desk. It's not really his sister. It's just him in a dress. It's apparently a trick he used to try and get to try and inspire students by saying that while he's working out, that taking time as a teacher takes a lot out of him and so forth. It's a funny payoff, but it actually does lead to something actually kind of nice and worthwhile. As he steps out to get some coffee, but Danny logs onto his computer to try and check out Doomed, but Lancer catches him and just kind of and gets angry. And so Danny realizes that he does need to know this sort of thing. So he starts trying to put in the time and invest. So he picks up a book of poetry because that's what the subject was, and he and Lancer start talking, and Danny starts getting knowledge and everything. He starts studying while Sam and Tucker continue fighting Technus, who, as they fight him, Technus is just getting more powerful because with every opponent he faces, he gets bigger and stronger. And at one point, he even gets a power up which transforms his body from an octopus body into like a spider body with the back carapace and the spider legs, which I think just makes it even look better. But bottom line, Danny's able to do get all the studying in, and is able to study enough, and so he manages to pass with a 91. As such, Lancer lets him leave. He goes home, gives his test to his parents, so they'll let him go on the computer, and then he runs downstairs to join to go play Doomed. However, once again, Sam and Tucker are telling Danny that that Technus has 5 of the 7 keys that he needs, and there's only 2 left. And then when he gets them, he can get access to the World Wide Web. And again, they talk about how he's cheesing everything with his ghost powers, but then when Danny hears that, he realizes, wait, if he can cheese things with his ghost powers, why can't I? And once again, I kind of will scratch my head a little here, because while I can honestly buy it a little with Technus, well, except for not extending the World Wide Web, but with Technus, his powers revolve around technology. While he has access to some standard ghost abilities, like phasing through walls, flying, etc., his entire motif is that he can take technology and possess it and control it and so forth. So I don't think it would be far off for him to be able to go into a computer and possess a game and possess a program in there and take possession of a program or whatever. But for Danny, I don't know. I kind of will scratch my head a little there. I think you can maybe say he does sort of have possession, but I don't know. I don't really know if I would buy that he can jump into a bit of programming with his ghost powers. I buy it more with Technus, but Danny is a stretch if you ask me. But bottom line, he tries it anyway, and it turns out, yeah, he's able to jump in and take the place of his avatar, I suppose. As such, he's able to use his powers to cheese through most of the levels and jump straight to level 13, where he's able to give Tucker and Sam a hand against Technus. And while hitting him with constant attacks and causing him to lose power as they fight. In the meantime, Sam goes to try and ultra cheat using these tiki heads, which in turn powers her avatar up to into this giant tiki thing that essentially crushes Technus. As such, to take out Technus, they then throw him in a glitch in the game, which is called Level 0. Just pretty much just blank empty space that's not really any level, but it's also a one-way streak. So once you're stuck in there, you can't get back out. So they open up so they throw Technus into Level 0 and then close the door behind them so he can't cause any more trouble. In the meantime, they're getting ready to beat the game. They have to find, because Technus had gotten all the keys already and he was about to unlock the door, but by defeating Technus, they got the last ones. So they're about to unlock the door to lock the final door to get access to the World Wide Web, but just before they do, Sam, Danny, and Tucker are all just blasted by another player, and they all get a game over, with Danny getting kicked out of the computer. So they're wondering who did that, and it turns out it's Lancer. It turns out he plays the game too, and apparently he's very good at it because this is the first time he's beaten it. As such, and that's just how it ends, with Lancer stealing the show in the very last second. So, yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. It's dumb but funny, and I like it. So on the whole, what do I think of Teacher of the Year? It's all right. I think it's all right. What makes it work is Technus is honestly 2 things that I think make it really nice. First off, Technus. Like I said, he's kind of like he's this series mad scientist. He's the Dr. Animo. He's the Dr. Animo to Danny Phantom. He's insane, over the top, and it's just part of his entire character. When he jumps into the Doomed video game, he starts talking about how he says, "Yes, I can use this to blend in and be hip with the kids, and they'll never know it's me. Technus!" It's hilarious because he's not subtle. He does not know how to blend in. And what's even funnier is that he tries to be hip with the kids and starts using outdated lingo. It's just really funny. And it's just even nice, but again, what still makes him good is that he is still a legitimate threat. He does know all the ins and outs, and while he is hammy and over the top, he learns more and more about the game, and as he keeps getting better and better, it's just getting worse and worse. And I still like his design. Of course, I still like the action. I still like seeing them fight against Technus. And there are still some funny lines, and there are still some funny stuff here and there. Like when Danny's parents say he can't use any technology, Danny gets the call from Tucker letting him know that Technus is doomed. But just before he does, Jack grabs the phone and says, "He's busy!" and just crushes it in his giant hands. And then when Danny comes back, And then when Danny comes back with his ace test and runs off, he's just like, I should probably give him his phone back. And he still has the remains. It's just funny and cute. But I think another thing that works about it is actually kind of the B plot with Lancer. Because I think kids kind of do need to learn that lesson. Even I have to learn that lesson somewhat, though I'm still trying. Like, the idea, just kind of, you need to, just all the stuff that you learn in school and you have to sit down to may be boring, it's essential. And you have to, and while there are other things in life that are fun, that do seem like more fun. You do need to know this stuff in order to make it in the world, and I kind of like that. And I kind of like seeing the side of. I like seeing this side with Lancer too. Like, he actually does not want to give up on Danny. Like, when he sees Danny fail, he does tell him he's going to need to make an exam, but he's going to get him to study. He's going to do as much as he can to try and get him to pass the test, and even tries to inspire him, talk to him personally, and says, I think, even when he's talking to Danny's parents, he says, I know Danny is capable, he just needs the time to study, and I think it'd be best if he spent his after hours with me. Which which I really like. It's nice. It really does, it really is just kind of nice, and I like the moral that, yeah, stuff like, with all you need is just kind of the right direction, and just the right helping hand, and I think, and you can do it. You can, and that way you can know what to do and so forth, and it's just really nice. And I think it is essential that kids learn this sort of lesson. They need to, again, while this stuff may be boring, it's essential, and you do need to know some of this, and you do need to know it. It can help you later on, and it really is. And while playing games and doing that sort of thing may be more fun, at the end of the day, it's still kind of a bit of a distraction. It's not so, you can't. I'm not saying cut it out of your life. I'm not going to advocate for cutting it out of your life, especially since this is a superhero show, and every Friday I record my thoughts on stuff like this. But at the same time, you should know that it's not the most important thing either. That there are other things you should focus on. That there are other things you should focus on in order to get ahead in life, and I like that sort of lesson. Not totally abandoned, because especially since that after Danny aces the test, he goes right back to playing the video game. But at least should still be a big part of your life, especially since Lancer is also playing it too, and I love that payoff. I think my big problems with it would kind of be some little fallacies or hiccups here and there, like when Danny and Tucker are being misogynistic towards Sam about game lingo and so forth, and on top of that, it just kind of and again you could say, oh, they're gamers, they should know. They probably would react that way to Gamer Girl or whatever. But here's the thing. I'm just going to say this right now. They've been treating her as an equal. Again, they've been treating her as an equal before this episode. And on top of that, they cut her out of the fight because they're using gamer lingo. First off, why are they doing that in the first place? Why are they doing that in the first place? For all they know, they think that she doesn't play the game, so why even use the lingo in the first place? Two, even if they weren't using the lingo, why are they cutting her out of the fight? They should at least be telling her stuff like this, because she has been helpful in other fights. I thought we learned this lesson. Don't abuse your teammates. We learned this in the last episode with Technus. Why are we relearning it here? And again, there's still kind of the whole hiccup with Technus doesn't have access to the World Wide Web, even though he's in an online multiplayer game which uses the internet to do that. So I think he should still be able to access the World Wide Web. So I don't really understand that. Maybe it's because he didn't possess the right app or whatever. I don't know. But then of course, just I feel it's a little bit of a stretch for Danny to just jump into the game using his own ghost powers, because again, Technus is a ghost that has control of stuff like that, but Danny not so much. But again, that's just some small stuff here. That's not really small stuff, but I think that what actually does work in the episode really does still make it worth it. Like, it still has some good stuff, there's some good lines. It has a nice moral with a B plot, and and of course I just love Technus. He's a great villain, and I think he works. So yeah, on the whole, still a pretty decent still a decent good episode. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and I will see you next week. Take care.